Succession. In family businesses, transitions to the next generation can be planned, seamless, like an Olympic relay race team passing a baton, or maybe the baton drops. Most family-led companies don't survive past the second generation. I'm Laurie Barkman, host of Succession Stories. I work with entrepreneurs to achieve their dreams. At 42, I was part of a succession plan of a third-generation company, hired from the outside as CEO of its $100 million subsidiary business, and I saw firsthand what successful transitions in a closely held company can look like. On this podcast, listen in while I speak with next-generation entrepreneurs who are driving innovation, growth, and culture change. I also talk with owners who successfully transition their companies and others who experience disappointment along the way. Guests also include experts in multi-generational businesses and entrepreneurship. I'm excited to launch the show and I encourage you to tune in. Here's a preview of some upcoming episodes. Do you get the sense that business owners are prepared for the transition that's coming?
I think you're seeing, in many cases, baby boomers that are delaying retirement because they don't have a clear succession plan. Even the term succession planning, I know when I bring it up to some of them, they're not completely sure what I mean until I unpack it a little bit. And then they'll kind of wince and say, gosh, I thought my son was going to be interested in, or I thought maybe their employees would buy us out.
We briefly talked about legacy, and as a family business gets older in the generations, so third, fourth, fifth generations, business is often viewed as an heirloom, as the grandma's silver. So people view it as sacred. And so it's not just, okay, I get to work there if I want, but it's a special opportunity. The other thing about succession in family businesses, it's not only a leadership or an ownership succession, it's really a planned way to make sure that all aspects of the transition are covered. Succession is not a once and done, it's not a moment in time, it's really a process, and it takes planning and time.
You referenced a few of the innovations that your father brought to life for the Steelers and the NFL in total. And I wanted to circle back to that because I think that's a really important part of the story. I was wondering if you could share a little more about some of these innovations, which ones in particular stood out to you.
And that's such a great question because I think because of the last 30, 40 years of our lives, we think of innovation as solely technological. And certainly there always need to be improvements either ahead of or along with some of these technological improvements. And if you look at my father's career, he brought some of the most significant business process improvements to an industry that now has this massive footprint. You look at the television sharing deal, and when that came about, baseball was by far and away the biggest sport in America in the 50s and 60s. No one would have ever thought that anyone could overcome baseball as the most significant player in the sports industry.
If you're a next-generation entrepreneur looking for inspiration to grow and thrive, or an owner who can't figure out the best way to transition their closely held company, this podcast is for you. I hope you'll listen and subscribe on your favorite podcasting software. Also, please consider giving a positive rating to help others discover the content. I'd also love to hear your suggestions. You can reach me at Laurie Barkman on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, or send me an email to successionstoriespodcast@gmail.com.